What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the SmoovePlayz podcast. It's week 2 of the NFL season, and Thursday night football is kicking us off. We got the Washington Commanders going into Lambeau Field playing the Green Bay Packers. And if our primetime games in week 1 were any indication, this primetime matchup, it looks good on paper. And week 2, if we're keeping up with the trend of week 1, should be a great game, Dean.
Yes, sir. All the primetime games were very good in week one, so this one should be fun. We got the Washington Commanders getting 3.5 points in Lambeau Field against the Green Bay Packers. What are your initial thoughts here?
Well, these are two teams that, I mean, like I said, these are two teams that I think are very good and can be very good and have the potential to, you know, be there at the end of the year in the playoffs, like they were last year. Um, it's tough. This is a tough one to pick. Like I said, you said 3.5 points, which I think I mean, I don't know because when I look at these teams on paper, both teams are solid all the way around and have good playmakers on both sides of the ball. I look at this game as a pick 'em.
Yeah, no, I agree with you. Maybe not a pick 'em. I think Green Bay should be the favorite for sure at home, but closer than 3.5, maybe 2.5. Washington is battle tested. They got to the NFC Championship last year. They won massive games last year. Obviously, new team, new weapons outside. Um, in my opinion, I think Washington obviously is a very explosive offense, but a very underrated defense as well. And I'm also ready to see Jane Dan. I think this, yeah, first game in Lambeau Field. So I know he's already had a lot of big games, but like I feel like that Lambeau Field game is a checklist off your career for sure. Um, Also, man, that makes me feel like Jane Daniels gonna have a massive game tonight. What do you think about that matchup with Jane Daniels and the Green Bay defense?
Yeah, I mean, look, how many times do we write off Jaden Daniels last postseason? I mean, like that dude was an underdog
Yeah.
every like week in week out in the postseason, big games, and he showed up when the lights were bright. Like it's tough to say that like how do you see the postseason and be like he's not gonna show up? But
Uh, yeah.
Lambeau's tough, like you said, and probably one of the toughest places to play. And this Green Bay defense is solid. Um, I want to talk about their defense real quick because obviously addition of Micah Parsons, we saw he did get a sack in week 1. And they played Detroit, which was a very good offense last year, right? But you gotta remember that that was also the first game for Detroit with a new OC, also a new DC. So I don't know. I don't think it's fair to discredit Green Bay for what happened in Week 1, but it is something that you do have to take into account. That being said, I think that there is a very clear advantage for Washington when it comes to matchups on the outside with Green Bay's defensive cornerbacks.
Yeah, I actually agree with that totally. I think Washington has a clear advantage on the outside, and I think that's where they need to win this game. They need to get the ball out of Jaden Daniels' hands. Don't let Micah Parsons, Rashawn Gary get after him and attack the perimeter. And that's why you get a guy like Debo Samuel, right? That you bring in weapons to bolster your offense. You pay Terry McLaurin, like this is the offense that they wanted. So I agree with you. Attack the outside. What do you think about the 3.5 point spread here?
So when I look at, it's tough because I definitely can see this game coming down to like a field goal, but at the same time, I think I look at the over under in this one at 48 and a half, and I think that this game's going to be a low scoring battle. Like you said, Washington has a very underrated defense in my opinion. They got a lot of guys that can play, and I don't think that outside of Josh Jacobs, the Packers have a guy that is necessarily like their go-to guy. When I look at their wide receivers, I don't think they have like what I would consider a wide receiver. Their wide receiver one is Jaden Reed. If you had to give them a wide receiver one, it'd be Jaden Reed. And I just don't think that Jaden Reed is like on par with. other wide receiver ones on a lot of, good teams, which is what Green Bay is.
Yeah, I agree with you there, but I also think that the Packers believe. I know that they don't have wide receiver one, and that does concern me a little bit, but they also just have more depth in their wide receiver room than other teams, I think. And I think they believe that with guys like Malik Heath, Dontavian Wicks. They got that rookie from TCU, Savion Williams, who's kind of like a running back receiver hybrid. So I'm interested to see if he gets, a lot of run this year. But I do think that that does concern me for sure. But I'm also very high on Jordan Love, and also I know the Packers are very high on Tucker Kraft, their tight end. So I think they think that he can have a breakout season. So at least until the trade deadline, see if this wide receiver room can be the room. I guess you also are banking on a guy like Matthew Golden, the rookie.
Yeah.
Um, do you think that he can break out and be, maybe that wide receiver one?
I mean, we've seen rookies in the past whenever, first primetime game of the year, and they kind of that's their big moment. So I
Yeah,
wouldn't be surprised. I don't think, I mean, I don't expect Marshawn Lattimore to be shadowing Matthew Golden or anything like that. So only time will tell. But all things considered, I mean, what do you think the blueprint is for Washington to win this game?
I think attack the perimeter, and I think the big one of the biggest things with Washington is they don't really have a true running back, like a true workhorse running back. So a lot of their rushing attack goes through Jane Daniels. So if Green Bay they need to get Jane Daniels running, that's one of their game plans. And also they need to stop Josh Jacobs because this whole Green Bay offense is reliant on running the ball, and it sets everything up. And so they need to stop Josh Jacobs, get Jane Daniels going. I think those are the two keys for Washington, in my opinion.
Yeah, I agree. I like what you said about getting the ball out to your weapons like Debo Samuel. That's why you go out and get a guy like Debo Samuel. You still got Scary Terry out there. I don't think you can put Jaden Daniels in these, three-step drop or four-step, five-step drop situations to where he's getting deep in the pocket, and you kind of gotta get him outside. Honestly, just get him outside the pocket, open up running lanes if he needs to, but keep that Green Bay defense guessing. You can't just let them with guys like Micah Parsons and Rashawn Gary, who last year Micah Parsons, when Washington played Dallas, had two sacks and 2.5 sacks in the two games he had. So Micah Parsons has had success against Jaden Daniels. Um, you got to try and limit that. And I think the way you do is by, like you said, either getting him out of the pocket early and designing plays to get him out the pocket, or you just try and get the ball out quick. I don't look at this Washington team with, like you said, a very good run game, very good backfield, and so that's why, yeah, like I mean, Jaden Daniels is going to have to do a majority of the rushing, in my opinion. But I think, like you said, defensively, the blueprint is stopping Josh Jacobs. That is the motor of this Green Bay offense. If you can stop Josh Jacobs, it's going to make passing the ball a whole lot harder for Jordan Love.
For sure, for sure. One thing I do want to note is I'm not sure the exact number, but Micah Parsons did not play a lot of snaps last week. He's also coming in the game questionable. I'm interested to see how many snaps he plays tonight. Like if he's really only in on third downs, stuff like that. Well, I guess we'll see, but that is a note to keep an eye on.
All right. And then Green Bay, what's their recipe?
I mean, kind of the same thing we said for Washington stopping. I mean, they got to run the ball with Jacobs, and I am a believer in Jordan Love, but if they don't get that run game going, I don't think their offense through the air, because we already mentioned their weapons aren't the strongest. So they need to get these guys open on play action. We know LaFleur can. I mean, LaFleur as a head coach is like he was like 60 and 30 or something, like his career record,
Matt
something
LaFleur
around
is
that
one of the
line.
best head coaches in the NFL.
Yeah,
Don't get that
like
twisted.
exactly. That's what I'm saying. He's going to scheme these guys open. Um, And also containing Jaden Daniels is probably the biggest thing, honestly. If let's be honest, the Green Bay defense, they're not going to lose because Austin Eckler has 100 rushing yards. They're not going to lose because Bill Krosky Marset who I have on my fantasy team, who I like, he he's not a, he's going to get, 8, 9 carries. Jaden Daniels is going to get probably 11 plus. If they can keep him under 60 rushing yards, something like that, I think that's a good recipe for Green Bay to win.
Yeah, I agree. I think that the blueprint for Green Bay is going to be utilizing that home field advantage that they have, and I think that's a big reason why they're favored is because they have home field advantage in Lambeau. Um, and it's going to be they're going to win. It's going to be because of guys like Micah Parsons and Rashawn Gary being able to put pressure on Jaden Daniels and make him uncomfortable. Um, and then, yeah, like you said, Josh Jacobs just has to get going. If Josh Jacobs isn't going, that that offense I feel like is not going to perform very well. Um, so Micah Parsons, Rashawn Gary, you have to be able to get after Jaden Daniels, and then for Washington, you got to try and limit them by getting the ball out quick and designing plays to get him out of the pocket.
Is that I couldn't have said it better, my friend. So where are you going with this pick?
Um, so I'm leaning towards Green Bay. I do think that I mean the over under in this one is 48 and a half, which I think is a little bit high. I would probably lean on the under and see this one as like a 23-17 ball game in favor of Green Bay. And I know I feel this is literally what we were doing all last season in the playoffs against Jaden Daniels in these big games, but I don't know. Maybe the off season he's cooling down a little bit.
Okay, so you like Green Bay. I actually do like the score prediction at 23-17. That for some reason sounds like that might be the score. But at the same time, I think this game, I actually like the over a little bit more because I just, maybe I'm reminiscing on last season, but I just remember these Washington prime, not just prime time, but just Washington games in general where they don't punt the ball. And also, they were actually the greatest fourth down team of all time statistically last season, which is pretty crazy. So I guess maybe that's part of the reason. But also, their offense just moves the ball well. And I think the Green Bay offense will be able to move it pretty well as well. So I like the over. Green Bay's always tough to beat at home. They're getting 3.5 points. Looking at this game, I really liked Green Bay. I really like Green Bay. I think they're one of my Super Bowl candidates. And my pick originally was Green Bay. I think I'm switching it up, my friend. I'm taking Washington. I think I'm taking Washington plus 3.5. I'm taking Washington to win the game. They're going into Lambeau. They're going into the frozen tundra because guess what? It ain't frozen
It
yet.
ain't
It's
frozen. It
September.
look, yeah, this
And
is Lambeau in
the Commanders
September.
are
That
walking
is
out.
something that you got to remember.
That's what I'm saying. And you got Parsons probably on a snap count. Green Bay's not at full strength. I like Washington, man. And who's scoring a touchdown tonight? Who's scoring one?
I mean, look, so I gotta go with my guy. I gotta go. Honestly, this is a little bit deeper, but I'm gonna go with a guy like Romeo Dobbs. I think Romeo Dobbs finds the end zone for Green Bay at some point. Um, Other guy, I actually think my favorite prop of the day of the game would probably be Micah Parsons just to get one sack. I think
Wow.
I think that Micah Parsons is going to get Jane Daniels at least once.
Okay, so that's fair. Okay, so Micah Parsons sack. I actually think Dobbs is a pretty good choice. If I had to go Green Bay, I think I'd t maybe take a guy like, I guess maybe Matthew Golden, like you said, rookie wide receivers sometimes break out in that first primetime game. Um, and if I'm going Washington, you know what? I'm going with a guy like Luke McCaffrey. I feel like Luke McCaffrey's coming out. He's the sixth wide receiver on the depth chart. I just think they're going to be inside. They're going to be inside the 15, inside the
Crazy.
12, and they're going to run a little play action boot to McCaffrey, and they're you're going to hear it. They're going to be Luke McCaffrey. I'm telling you, Luke McCaffrey scoring tonight.
For those of you at home watching, I can picture it right now. It's exactly what it's gonna look like. Say Luke McCaffrey gets in the end zone, I'm gonna get a call or something from Dean, and it's gonna be Luke McCaffrey. What did I tell you? I can see it now.
I guess I'm hedging my bets. I guess I'm hedging my bets, but I'm saying Luke McCaffrey or John Bates. One of these, one of these backup dudes who you don't, no one knows. John Bates or Luke McCaffrey are scoring the net.
Hey, could happen. I mean, at the end of the day, I'm just looking for a great football game, and I think we got a really good one here between Washington and Green Bay. So I'm looking forward to seeing it. These are two very good teams that I expect to see fighting for an NFC championship at the end of the year and have the potential to. They just got to go out there and live up to the hype. So, I mean, week two getting us started good. And, I mean, how are we going to wrap this one up, Dean?
I got nothing else to add. I'm just excited to watch a good game tonight. Let's hope for a good weekend of football.
All right. Well, with that said, we appreciate y'all tuning in. Let us know down in the comments your thoughts on the game, your predictions, and then leave a like if you enjoyed the video. Subscribe if you're not, if you're looking to see more. We do have our Sunday slate game coming up this weekend, so make sure you stay tuned for that. And if Dean, you got nothing else, I got nothing else. We'll see y'all in the next one. Peace.
Yes, sir. Peace.